If you are somebody who has a hard time finishing passion projects, if you're somebody who has a short temper, or if you're somebody who struggles with feeling fulfilled in your relationships, you might have what's called a soul exhaustion wound. Hi, my name is Jamari, and I am the spiritual director for Sons of Spirit. We are the nation's first spiritual health clinic for Black men, and I want to talk to you today about what soul exhaustion wounds are. Soul exhaustion wounds are essentially a spiritual wound or a soul injury where the soul has a hard time generating its own energy, has a hard time generating its own soul power. So it's kind of like trying to live life when your soul, the essence of who you are, is trying to move through mud or is stuck in tar. No matter how hard you work, how hard you go, the soul isn't able to generate the kind of energy and power that it needs to propel you towards fulfillment. And that becomes very exhausting. So that's a soul exhaustion wound. Typically, I see this where it's coming from the fact that people have had multiple lifetimes with burdens or very hard evolutionary lessons, and the harm or challenges that they experienced from those past lifetimes were never healed or addressed. And so it created a soul exhaustion wound in this particular lifetime, even if they set this lifetime up to be easier and not as hard. I also see this with very severe childhood trauma at an early age, even at birth or in the wound. If a child experiences significant physical trauma, it can create a soul exhaustion wound where essentially the soul just kind of gets stuck, or a kind of wound where their energy then gets drained. And again, then it's like they're trying to move through life stuck in tar. I also see this with ancestral burden. So if you come from a particular ancestral line where there was a lot of difficulty, such as being Black and the history of enslavement, you can then inherit a belief system that life is just hard. And that becomes a soul exhaustion wound for you, even though it's not yours, even though you didn't experience enslavement, it can then impact your own soul's experience in that way. This creates, like I said, in people's lives, a couple different, or presents itself in a couple different ways, and not necessarily physical exhaustion. Again, we're talking spiritual level, beyond the surface type of wounding. So you might not feel exhausted in your life or fatigued in your life and have a soul exhaustion wound. How it usually presents itself is you might be somebody who has a lot of passion projects, things you're excited about doing, opportunities you're excited about, visions, ideas, dreams you're excited about doing that feel really aligned, but then for whatever reason, it always feels like you have a hard time actually accomplishing them. You can't get them to the finish line. And this can be very perplexing and very discouraging for someone where it's like, I don't get it. I care about this. I want to do this, but I just can't ever seem to get to the finish line. It's very possible you might have a soul exhaustion wound because, again, even though you're excited about it, even though it's aligned, your soul is stuck in tar. So it's very hard for you to propel and move towards it. Another way that it shows up is having a short temper. And this presents itself in sometimes two different ways. One, our soul's energy and soul power is what we generate in order to help us to feel more grounded, more regulated. And so if your soul power, soul energy is stuck in tar and can't generate itself, then you can be less grounded and less regulated, and that can lead to having a short temper. The other way that a short temper develops is having it as a defense mechanism or a survival tactic. Because again, if your soul has a sense of being stuck in tar and you experience what perceived to be an attack, whether it's a verbal attack or, someone engaging you in an argument or whatever it might be that is perceived as an attack, if you're stuck in tar, you feel vulnerable. And so one way that then one learns to protect oneself in the absence of having soul energy and power in order to respond is to blow up and make themselves bigger in order to essentially scare away the perceived attack. So that can create a short temper as well. And then the last way I see it show up for folks is struggling to feel fulfilled in relationships, even when there are people that you feel connected to, there are people that you love, there are people that you enjoy, there are people that feel soul aligned, but something in you just always feels kind of like blah, like there's some gap in the connection that's missing. And there is. The gap is your own soul energy and soul power that is not able to show up fully in that relationship. So those are 3 ways that I see it show up. So comment down below if this resonates for you in any kind of way. And if you like this content, definitely like, share, and follow me here as I plan to make more. Love y'all so much. Peace.